Okay, well, good morning and welcome to the California Coastal Commission.
My name is Patricia McPherson. I'm Grassroots Coalition, and this is an informational with regard to Ballona wetlands. This PowerPoint, as you can see here, shows Ballona wetlands is underlain by multiple aquifers that act as one freshwater aquifer system. I bring this to your attention also because in 1990, when the Coastal Commission had its settlement agreement with the Friends of Ballona, Ballona was divvied up at that time. It was all politically divvied up. There was no science attached to that divvying up of Ballona. And that is a problem because the coastal development permit for the freshwater marsh system is all a result of 1990. And the main thing wrong with it was that it called and classified Ballona as a saltwater wetland, which it is not. At the time, they did not include the Poland report. Poland is the grandfather of all hydrology for the LA basin. Ballona is a rare seasonal freshwater wetland. And this is one of the diagrams used for Playa Vista's EIR that shows all of the underlying aquifers. Next slide, please. And this is why it's illegal to harm Ballona's freshwaters. We've got Porter Cologne, the State Water Quality Act disallows the harming of freshwater aquifers. We have Groundwater Protection Acts and Groundwater Sustainability Management Acts that also do not allow for harming that groundwater. 2014, new things that we have. The Department of Water Resources, 8888, disallows the wasting of fresh water. And it's an interesting 8888 from the Department of Water Resources comes from roughly 1960. So these are long-standing rules, long-standing ideologies. All of Ballona, next slide please. This is the amount of water that the Water Board, 950,000 gallons a day, that they are allowed to dewater for the Howard Hughes contamination. That water is then predominantly thrown into the riparian corridor, which goes into the freshwater marsh, which is under the CDP 5-91-463 of this Coastal Commission, all of which goes into the freshwater marsh, and some of it is also sent into the sanitary sewer. Pumped groundwater from Playa Vista's gas mitigation systems can also be used on Ballona, all of this fresh water. We also have rainwater from the freshwater marsh system can be stopped from being thrown away into the ocean, which is the current practice. Next slide, please. This is the wasteful, needless throwaway of Ballona's freshwater from underneath buildings for the gas mitigation systems that Grassroots Coalition in particular worked with the City of LA and brought this to the attention of the city. We now have a new methane code from the City of LA. The Playa Vista site has a particular methane code for itself called the Playa Vista Methane Prevention, Detection, and Monitoring Program. And it has multiple experimental measures that are a part of it. Next slide, please. This is phase 1. This is phase 2. Again, the wasteful, needless throwaway of Ballona's freshwaters. All of this water from all of those points that you're seeing there, we call these spider maps, go to the sanitation. This is groundwater. This is clean groundwater that's simply being thrown into the sanitary sewer. So again, getting back to CDP 5-91-463 from 1990, nowhere in any of the agreements can you find any of the agreements agreeing to allow harm to Ballona wetlands. And as Andrew Willis told me, enforcement, if Playa Vista is taking away groundwater that harms Ballona by that removal, the Coastal Commission can step in and act. And that's what I'm asking you to do. And that is what I am asking all of the agencies that have oversight of this freshwater marsh to do also. Next slide, please. In December of 2017, as you can see, that's a drain right here. Here is our capped drain. I just needed to point it out. That's our capped drain. We now have that capped because of the Grassroots Coalition lawsuit that was with Playa Vista and the Department of Fish and Wildlife. And later today in the director's report, we will be getting into further issues regarding the removal of those drains. However, what I want to show you is you were told by the Department of Fish and Game through Playa Vista's own consultant, which, by the way, SOMAS stated that they were also Fish and Wildlife's consultant for the past 19 years. I don't know that that is true, but it would seem a conflict of interest to be both Playa Vista's consultant as well as CDFW's consultant. In any case, they told you that the attorney for Fish and Game said the only way that there could be water here, ponding over that capped drain, is because it came in backed up from the freshwater marsh system. Well, here's a demonstration that that's also inaccurate, because we have the ponding that has been occurring from all the rains we've been having. And this is from March 2nd for that one. And you can see back in 2017, the picture, the small picture there shows it submerged, and the very following day it's drained because it was thrown out into the ocean. So now, thank you, we have stopped this water from being thrown out into the ocean. Next slide, please. Here we have the freshwater marsh. This area that you see in the back with the concrete and the wooden slats, that's called the overflow area. And it's also on the little diagram to the right, just below the left turn there. That is an area that is designed to allow all of the overflow from that freshwater marsh to go out into Ballona, to nurture Ballona, both its plants and its wildlife. That has been stopped from occurring because, as you see the little arrow at the top, drain to the ocean, that is a culvert that is draining the water from that freshwater marsh. All that rainwater that we've been getting today, what we're getting, is being sent through the main drain out to the channel and being thrown away. Why is this happening? There is no need to be throwing away any of this water. And to get to the really strange part of all of this, there's also a square drain out there that is roughly, I don't know, halfway up the tall portion, that there's a square drain that was put in 2008, 2009. Who put that in? Playa Vista put it in, just like they put in their illegal road that Building and Safety cited them with like 17 citations, and it was handed over to Public Works, who said, I can dismiss the citations from Building and Safety, but you still have to do compaction reports and everything else that you haven't done because you never got a permit. Well, I know that they never got a permit to put in that drain. We know from Google Earth Maps that it was put in roughly 2008, 2009, during a time frame that no development was to occur on Ballona until the restoration was decided. It's in a Phase 2 portion, in the extended wetland portion. And no matter all of that, I'm asking, what does it do? I'm asking the Water Board, what does it do? I'm asking Brody, the land manager from CDFW, what does it do? I'm asking State Lands Commission, what does it do? Well, actually, I have a photograph of it that shows from these rains, it's filled up to the top. It is now a stagnant column of water. And in none of the reports for this freshwater marsh system to determine whether it works or not as a system was it ever included in any of those reports. It was only even put in 2008, 2009. So where is the oversight from the state agencies that own this land? This land is a public trust land. We bought it. You bought it. It's all public trust land. State Lands Commission owns it. Where is their oversight for the things happening out here, for the water that's being thrown out into the ocean, for this square drain that's filling up and acting in a way that I'm sure vector control would like to know about, because we've had major problems with vector control citing the mosquitoes outbreak that we had last year. Vector Control citing that there is no clear line of authority regarding this marsh. Well, when the Coastal Commission originally had its CDP back in 1990, Trust for Public Land had oversight for the negotiations for the sale of the land. An independent party had management of this marsh area. In the 1990 settlement agreement that Coastal Commission was a part of, it was supposed to be the Ballona Committee, which included state agents also, and local CD11, our council district. It never happened, though. And through the years, it just kind of got shuffled off. And meanwhile, Playa Vista, of course, picks up the slack and now says, I'm the Ballona Conservancy, and I have oversight. So the kicker here is, I just asked Brody, the land manager of Fish and Wildlife, tell me about this square drain. Brody's response to me is that, it's not my job, don't know what it is, you need to go to Playa Vista and ask them. I get another email from an attorney from State Lands Commission telling me, I don't know what it is, you need to ask Playa Vista what it is. I cannot go to a private entity with a Public Record Act request and say, tell me what this is. Where is the oversight for this marsh? Why is all of this water being diverted and thrown away? Playa Vista's own EIR mitigation stated that the waters that they bring to the surface will be cleansed and reused on site to recharge the underlying aquifers. Is this happening? Absolutely not. This marsh has a clay lining under it. It doesn't allow the water to seep down. This marsh has gases that are gushing up through University City Syndicate. Is that in any of the reports that Playa Capital puts out? Absolutely not. Where is the oversight? So what I am asking you, and I just had a meeting with the Water Board, who frankly didn't even realize that the water was being sent out to the ocean, and now they know. And I am asking for all of these agencies that are part of, well, Fish and Game certainly has its stream bed agreement, which all of this falls under it. Brody should know what this is. All of Fish and Game should know what that square drain does. They know what's functioning out there. Why is Fish and Game allowing all of this water to be diverted and thrown away out into the ocean? Why is the State Lands Commission telling me to go talk to Playa Vista about how this thing works out there? Why isn't State Lands Commission stepping in saying, do not throw this water away? And ultimately, CDP 5-91-463 from this Coastal Commission from 1990, part of the problem is it's so archaic, and it was never updated after we acquired it as the public. We, the public, want to see these waters saved for Ballona. And as I said to begin with, there is no agreement whatsoever that ever allowed this marsh to harm Ballona. The DEIR that's out there now with Fish and Game, as Ms. Luce will tell you, and their information they put out states, we have to save the water for Ballona. It's dying because it has no water. Well, of course it does, but it's being diverted. Playa Vista has created a wall. All of the water underneath its buildings is being pumped and diverted to the sanitary sewer for the gas mitigation systems. All of the water from the Water Board, because we've got all these different agencies, none of them are coordinating, are sending the water into the riparian corridor, into the marsh, which only recently they're really aware that it's being all sent out into the ocean. Well, Fish and Game is aware of this. Santa Monica Bay Restoration Commission and the Bay Foundation was aware of it. I have an email here. Next slide, Billy, please. Here's Crehan, Mr. Crehan from SOMAS, and you'll note that Santa Monica Bay Restoration Commission is part of this, Fish and Wildlife is part of this, Bay Foundation and Friends of Ballona are part of this, that actually Mr. Crehan is saying that water from the ocean, from Ballona Channel, was coming up through those illegal drains. And this is the email that I mentioned to you that I had already provided to staff. So all of these agencies know that there are problems with this system, because this freshwater system, don't forget, is the main drain, is the cut through to the channel, is the riparian corridor. It's all of that. And this commission, its CDP 5-91-463, has oversight of all of that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Patricia, and I appreciate the clarity. Okay, stop. Okay, Richard Harmel, please.
Madam Chair, at some point I'd like to, I realize we
Yes,
can't
not
discuss
now.
this because it's not on the agenda, but at some point I would like to hear from our executive director because I think the transcript and my memory of a year and 3 months ago are pretty clear.
Right, I think it's coming up in the executive director report.
Yes, so I'll be covering that in the deputy director's report, and we can have a discussion on that.
See, methods. Richard, thank you.
Commissioners, good morning. My name is Richard Harmel. I'm from Sierra Club, Airport Marina Group, ExCom Committee. The Ballona wetlands is a groundwater-dependent ecosystem, and its groundwater is critical for the survival of the Ballona's freshwater wetlands. We're going to be looking at a short Vimeo that is going to be on groundwater-dependent ecosystem. It shows the danger of artificial pumping and how lowering groundwater levels causes the death of ecosystems. So as we're watching this, when we start, I'll be running along with the descriptions as to what's happening. You see the ground levels under the water levels underneath. And so during normal seasonal changes, you have water coming in and the water levels, underground water levels going up. And in dry summers, the plants depend on the groundwater as their principal water source. As groundwater pumping begins, artificial groundwater pumping, it creates a lower underground level in the aquifer. It gets so low that the root systems from the habitat aren't able to get nourishment, and so they dry up and they die. So similar to what you saw in this Vimeo, Ballona's fresh groundwater is being lost. The waters to recharge the underlying aquifer are being pumped out, drained, or diverted away from Ballona, being discharged directly into Ballona Creek and then directly into the ocean or into a sanitary sewer system. So for over 20 years, this cumulative dewatering process is keeping the aquifers underlying Ballona from ever being recharged, lowering groundwater levels and allowing the Ballona freshwater wetlands to dry out. Thank you.
Thank you. Scott.